Happy Monday, everyone. And it's another beautiful Monday here in Michigan. Today, of course, on Market Update Monday. I wanted to touch base a little bit about what I referenced last week and kind of give some numbers and stats behind that. So, if you watched last week's video, that's awesome. If not, go back and check it out. I made a reference of it's like driving down the highway. So this current market, right? And the big question is, will my house still sell in today's market? That's the big question I get. It's like, well, everybody's seeing what the media portrays, and they lack some context in some of the stuff that they state. But the big question is, will my house still sell in today's market? And I referenced last week about driving down the highway at 90 mile an hour and then you back off and slow down to about 80. Well, you're still going pretty dang fast. However, it feels like you're crawling because you've been going 90 for so long. So that's the buyer demand then and now. We kind of know that during the pandemic, mortgage rates were historically low. In fact, they were lower than we've ever seen for a long period of time. Some people crept into the twos even, which was amazing, right? So that was flying at 90 mile an hour down the highway is what that was. But now that we've seen inflation take hold a little bit, rates have increased, due to that inflation. The buyer demand has pulled back slightly, and we've slowed down to that 80 mile an hour mark, so to speak. So to put that in perspective, kind of put some numbers behind that. If you look at the actual showings per listing and what was happening during that time, during the pandemic, when those rates were so low, we saw upwards of 254 showings, 271, 265, and this is monthly showings, so it's not just per home, but there was a ton of buyer activity out there, a ton. And that's backed off to about 158 showings over the recent month. And that's on average in the average market. Again, that's an index and taking kind of like the whole country into account, the whole real estate market into account. But what it means is the buyer demand is still there. And let me put this in perspective a little bit. Yes, has it cooled down? Of course. We went from 265 showings per month in the month of actually March and April. We're still in the 250 showings per month as far as the market goes, to all the way down to 158. However, when you look at just those numbers, which is what the media will show you, right? Oh, it's, the market is slowing down, it's coming to a screeching halt. However, if you take a look at the actual showings during the month, and we have July stats right now, but August will be coming out soon. We'll have all of those stats too. But if you look at the past 5 years of showings in the month of July, which is the numbers we're pulling from, the 3 years prior to the pandemic, which were still great real estate years, still things going on, we're looking at 124, 124, 124. So pretty steady during that time. And then we went all the way up to 199 in 2020. And that was where we were bumping out of the pandemic and everybody started taking off because of the complete shutdown in March and April, to 189.4 in 2021 to 158 in 2022. So we are still over almost 30 higher, actually over 30, so 35 showings per month on an index over what we were seeing in a normal market back in 2017, 2018, 2019. So put that in perspective when you're thinking, will my house still sell in this market? So I want you guys to understand that, put a little context behind the fear that the media drives and things like that. So what matters, right? What does that mean for you? The key to selling in today's market is having a real estate professional that understands what's happening in the market, that is not just watching the news and then sharing that with you, but is actually studying the market, getting their information from better sources than themselves, and being able to share that and understand what's happening. And if you're pricing your home correctly and putting it at market value, not what you were getting in the 90 mile an hour down the highway 2021, 2022, where everybody and their mother was paying $50,000 over asking price, bringing cash to the table and giving away their third child so that they could get the home. If you price it correctly in this market, it's still selling fast, and there's still buyer demand. So that's just make sure that you have a real estate professional that understands the market, can price your home correctly. And yes, your home will still sell in this market. It's not going to sell in 3 hours with 24 offers on the table, more than likely, but it's still going to sell, and it's still going to sell quickly. So keep that in mind. Hopefully I've added a little context to your life and what you're seeing out there in the current marketplace. If you have any questions, reach out to me. You're obviously on here, so you see me on Facebook. Feel free to share with anybody else that might be having these same conversations or doubts that they could potentially sell still in this market, because I really want to make sure that everybody has the context they need to have a clear understanding of what the market's doing and what they could still do with their home if they needed to. So hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Appreciate y'all. And hey, don't mean to offend anybody, but go blue.